You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files Season 3 with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit us at www.kyxfiles.com. And now, on to our show.
And the worst part is that we ourselves paid for it to happen.
Oh, this is 100% bought and paid for by us.
Yeah, and it's awesome. If you think about it, if you look at the silver lining of it all, we did a great job making ourselves into automatons.
Yeah,
and I feel like I'm not gonna like sit here and blame everything on don't get me wrong, life itself kind of like screwed me in certain different ways and whatnot, but I did make poor decisions. I wasted, I bought things that I shouldn't have bought, and I put myself in so much debt, and then it like literally puts you that's a bad thing. Even if you take two steps in the wrong direction financially, it actually takes you 10 to 20 steps back trying to fix it. And that's the shitty thing. And I take full responsibility on that part. But shit, I lost my point. But you get where I'm coming from with that. Yeah. It's just, it's so hard to even fix what you got, what you did wrong.
Well, it's frustrating.
You know, and the thing of it is, though, is your situation isn't a mooch situation. It's a mutual beneficiary situation. You know, like you're there to help out when they need help. You're not living there for free. You're helping out with bills and stuff. So they have more money for them to use. You have more money for you to use.
Yeah.
Honestly, what you've got going on is completely common in other cultures.
Yeah, it's kind of a society. Like
Right.
One person does this. It shares the workload in a way.
There's a lot of cultures where the youngest is the one that stays back and never leaves. So, take the Amish for example. In Amish culture, even if they have like a dozen kids, the youngest one never leaves the house. He stays. And he takes care of mom and dad. And when they pass, he inherits everything. Because the older ones should have already established themselves by that time. And this isn't...
Oh, no. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and this isn't just exclusive to white folk. This is also like people of Nepal or a lot of your Eastern Asian and Southeastern Asian people. The youngest stays behind and takes care of mom and dad, while the rest move on.
Do you think that perhaps Tyler's folks should be taking him to other villages to marry him to a bride of one of those other villages?
Oh, absolutely.
Could you imagine? Hey, you know how your dad is. He's got that sense of humor. Could you imagine your dad arranging your marriage? He'd be sitting back there like,
take this guy, get him out of my fucking house.
Like, Dad. Yeah. Speaking of conspiracies, though, we got a doozy, right?
Yeah, I've been doing some digging, and man, I dug up a lead mine.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did you see my title? Where's it at? It's over here. Did you see that?
Lead balloon pilot.
Mm-hmm. I had that on last week, and I kept it this week because the subject matter.
Yeah.
All right. So I sent you over a couple of videos. The first one I want to start with is the Joe Rogan one to kind of
Okay.
set the precedence of what we're going to talk about. So if you could please play Mr. Joe Rogan for us. I'm trying to say his name as much as I can to give him credit. It's Joe Rogan.
Gas, you know that? Like gas used to have lead in it. And the reason why it had lead in it is like engines would knock. So they added lead to gasoline and they poisoned the whole world. That was in the air everywhere. And everyone was getting lead poisoning. Do you know that the IQ levels of people who were born between a specific time when they were using leaded gas are lower than people who weren't fucking lead poisoned? That's why you have unleaded gas.
I love how we're all like so quiet.
So to put it in perspective, and this isn't just some off the wall number. This is actual from the National Library of Medicine, right?
Yeah.
The Center for Biotechnology Information. We lost as a civilization during that time 825 million IQ points up to 2015.
Wow.
Because of lead poisoning.
That's fucking scary.
Right. So now that's not individuals losing that many, obviously, but as a whole, as a total, as a society, 825 million IQ points were lost.
Do you feel like that was deliberate?
So I don't know that it was deliberate. I don't think it was nefarious. I think it was just ignorance. But I think maybe there's a possibility that the government could have used it to their benefit by, I already stripped mine off, so each of us have to do it. Tyler, you're next. Each of us.
I don't have a shirt on under this. Sorry. Continue.
Why did me and Danny turn into Cheshire Cats immediately with that? All right, so
get the clicks on this.
This is where the conspiracy gets deeper. Now, for our age groups of people that listen to us, the younger folks, this might make some sense for you. The older folks might be in a little bit of denial. I don't know. But if you would like to play the next video.
Yes. Let me move that one.
Josh, Lowrider. Josh, Lowrider. Lowrider, Josh.
Another conspiracy. Dave's Nicolas Cage conspiracy.
Are we going to bring up the King Triton thing on the show? Jesus.
All right, let's see what this lady has to say.
It makes me wonder what happened to all of our parents that turned them into this.
Sorry to share this way, but you can't stitch a stitch. So hear me out. I think two things happened to the silent generation and boomers and probably other generations that caused this. And the first one is lead poisoning. Yeah, lead poisoning. You have to remember that by the turn of the 20th century, lead was kind of in everything. So the silent generation and boomers grew up in a world where they were exposed to lead a lot. It was in toys and paint, and it was an additive in gas. So they were literally breathing in low levels of lead poisoning. Chronic long-term lead poisoning is suspected of being a contributing factor to the fall of the Roman Empire. And it has effects such as making people less agreeable and conscientious, lower openness to new experiences, and higher levels of narcissism, lower levels of empathy, and impulse control. And even higher levels of lead exposure can lead to higher rates of paranoia, as well as psychiatric disorders like schizophrenia. And to give you a sense of the scale to which boomers and silent generation were exposed, as they phased lead out of gasoline, someone born in 2016 has 93.6% less lead in their bodies than someone born before 1970. Leaded gasoline really accelerated in exposure from 1930 to 1970 when it started being phased out. So even older Gen Xers and to an extent millennials were exposed to some form of lead, but not nearly at the levels of silent generation and boomers. So all of that combined creates entire generations who are, as a whole, probably primed in not great ways to deal with psychological stress. And the other thing that's at play is generational trauma. The silent generation, for the most part, did not model great parental behavior for boomers and older Gen Xers. There's a reason why in the 1970s and the 1980s, they literally ran ads saying, "It's 10 o'clock, do you know where your kids are?" Because they didn't. And boomers, for the most part, don't deal with that trauma. Many of them desperately need to go to therapy and won't. Gen X began to deal with this trauma. More of them are trying to parent in a different way than their parents parented them. And I think millennials are continuing that, dealing with our generational trauma and not trying to pass on our generational trauma. Will we all be successful? No. But are more of us trying? Yes. Normalizing therapy has helped. And not having literal lead poisoning also helps. So does that explain all of it? No. But do I think that both of those things are pretty significant contributing factors? Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm not trying to downplay. Whoops, hold on. I got fucking tabs just playing on their own in the background here. I'm not trying to downplay the lead poisoning thing. Like that's fine, but I do have an opinion about the parenting thing. Okay, hear me out. Okay, and I know this one is a tough one that I've noticed recently with personal experience. This one's a tough pill for the younger ones to swallow. The older generations, they're saying that the parenting was not as good, and yet more of their prodigy hold jobs, are productive, deal with things, are in higher stress jobs because they're built for it. They handle pressures every day. They do all this stuff. They generally just do this on their way up as they go through their life. And very few of them need a safe space.
Right. Yeah.
Now, complain when someone said something mean to them.
Right. So my whole thing, whole thing with the video was specifically the lead.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I had to get my jab in there.
No, I agree. I agree with you because there is definitely a difference.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the lead isn't also the cause of that.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, like, the lead may have made us tougher people. Now, I'm not condoning lead poisoning. I'm not saying we should all go out there and lick lead bars.
Well, I mean,
but what I'm saying is that maybe the stress is legitimately less on us. So if they have 96% less lead in their systems in the younger generations, and the lead affects the empathy levels, the ability to feel, like us not being able to feel the emotion of something happening to the fullest extent. We don't know we can't because we've never felt full emotion. Maybe the shit that's happening to them is that much more traumatic.
I get you. Because
you see what I'm saying?
They're not deadened to it inside.
They're not deadened. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We are.
Okay.
The older, that's why, like, you and I have said this 100 times about our old men. It's like, man, I wish that I could aspire to be as tough.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe it's because he just was legitimately just that much tougher because he couldn't feel the emotion.
Yeah. Well, there's the saying that I unfortunately have had said to me, and I can't deny that I got offended. I mean, I got to a point where I was ready to say some things that is a little out of character for me.
Yeah.
It was well, I mean, from your generations, and the one before you, you don't know any better. And I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm like, okay, this is an unemployed person that is completely dependent on others to live, telling me, a person who supports myself and a family, who does everything in my power to take care of people I care about, that I don't know any better. And I'm sorry, but the way they come off with this is a person from very little experience trying to teach a person with tons of experience that they don't know what they're doing. And I'm sitting there like, you're not even alive yet.
Right.
You haven't even suffered anything. If you think that all this therapy and safe spaces is going to somehow just get you through the hard shit that is coming for you and all of us, you are fucking delusional.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And I know that's going to offend a bunch of people that have that mind state, but somebody's got to wake you the fuck up. Shit's not easy. Nothing is easy.
Right.
So lead poison, if it got me to the point where I could handle this shit, thanks, lead.
I feel it. Let me play devil's advocate on this. I get where you're coming, and I'm feeling that Josh is with you on this one. But you gotta there's some things that I feel like you just can't talk to people about. So, but keeping it in is bad for you also.
Sure.
So I get why they said let's normalize therapy. I just don't want you to somebody to go into thinking that that's the cure all.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to take away stress. It's just going to make you deal with it a little bit better than you are now.
Maybe it's good. Maybe it's a good thing.
That will help, because people that have trauma, especially people that came back from war and stuff like that, I believe that they don't want to show the people that they're around all the time the emotional side that they're feeling, because they wasn't raised like that. They wanted to be hardened, and they want to show strength.
Oh yeah.
And especially in the men's side of things too.
Yeah.
Men's feelings now and back then were just shoved under the rug because of what we have to provide.
Right.
We are basically the stable of the household. We are basically we are the house. We're holding the house up to keep it from falling in.
Yeah.
But we're the rock. And I feel like a lot of that just tends to weigh too much on a man itself. And just like any other person out there, you have feelings, and when you start feeling like that, you literally start to collapse in on yourself because you think that this is how it's supposed to be. You shouldn't ask for help, and you just keep pushing on. I feel like
ingrained in me where when the idea of someone of a stranger, a therapist, I can't help this. I cannot help how I feel about this. The idea that someone's going to sit there and solve me, and I've made it 42 years without them. So far, I've been all right.
Right.
I've managed to somehow survive all these traumas. And I hate to sound like that, but that's the way it comes off to me. I can't help it, but as soon as someone says that the therapy thing to me, I feel fucking insulted.
Yeah, but
because I'm like, are you discounting everything I've been through?
But here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
You, whether you know it or not, you've been doing therapeutic things.
Sure.
So just venting to another dad about shit is therapy. None of us are going to solve your problems.
I take music.
The show.
Yeah, music is my therapy. Yeah.
We all do it. You know, me on a job site, something aggravates me, and I'm talking to one of the other guys in my age group about the shit that's going on. And it's not the fact that he's going to solve my problem. It's that he's like, yeah, me too, man. Because then all of a sudden you don't feel alone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's therapeutic. So now to sit down in a clinical sanitary office and talk to somebody that hasn't known you, you know, I don't know. My old man's quote to me was, you know, you can lie to a therapist, you can lie to me, but you can't lie to the guy in the mirror.
Yeah.
He was absolutely right. Like none of these people can do anything for you. You have to be able to handle it yourself. But sometimes just getting the shit off your chest goes a long way. You know,
I always have this like mental image, and I know it's like I said, the music thing.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy playing my guitar, but you guys know I lose myself in it. I fucking lose myself at band practice.
Yeah.
If it's a guitar solo part, dude, I'm fucking gone. I'm a million miles away at that moment.
Yeah.
And I might only be playing a guitar solo for 5-6 bars, but I'm literally gone, and I have to check back in when I get back from that because it takes me away. That part I enjoy doing. It's a favorite thing of mine. The vocal thing, though, is a therapy. Because all these things that bug me and piss me off and all this shit that made me depressed and all blah, 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 it all becomes poison in my gut. And I vomit it out. You know?
Yeah.
I remember telling you guys, there was a line in one of our songs. I'm not going to give it away on the show or anything, but there's a line in one of my songs that took me months to sing the line without tearing up.
Yeah.
That's my therapy. That's what gets me through. But I don't really have to, you know, I don't even have to tell it what the problem is, what's bothering me. I just do it, and there it is, you know. But truthfully, like, I get the idea of the therapist, but for some reason, the idea of a stranger sitting there trying to fix my whatever, it just instantly puts me to just like, I hate it. I get pissed off. Like it's like an insult to my face or something. Like, I don't know why I react that way, but I just hate the idea of it.
I feel like you're in a way. I feel like you're digging too much into it. You
I
keep
am
saying,
probably.
you keep saying them trying to fix you. I don't feel like any therapist is out there to fix you.
Yeah.
It's just you to understand the feelings that you're having and to understand how to deal with them if they can. That's the thing.
We can tell who has less lead.
Tyler's unleaded.
Tyler's unleaded.
I'm just saying, like, don't get me wrong. What gets me the most, and I'm going to say this, I've actually thought about going to therapy. I've actually thought about it because I deal with things in my own, like, I'm not saying that I have had a hard life or anything, but I have emotions that make me feel weird that I would like to, like, at least have an understanding.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I always tell myself, like, if I get really emotional about it, I'm like, there's so many other people out there that have had so much more trauma than I have. Do I deserve to have help with that? Like, why do I think my feelings are more than this other person's feelings when they dealt with so much more than I have? Because I've grew up in a great home. I still am in this home. I just had like weird feelings that I never could understand why I have them. So I always, in a way, I belittle all my feelings due to people that's actually had hard times and dealing with a lot of stuff. Like, I hate saying my problems when you're over here fighting to get yourself a home. And I don't feel like any of my problems amount to anything you've done.
I get what you're saying there. That makes sense to me. But see, like, that's a finer point that I should be making before I make my statement about my personal feelings about therapy and all that, is that if it works for others, I have nothing to say. Do what you need to do to get through this fucking life. I just meant from a personal thing. Me personally, I'm like, the idea just pisses me off, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll fucking deal with it. You know,
but to add to that,
I'll just drink.
You have that. Other people don't. Don't give me like, I'm in the band with you guys. I've made knives with you. I've done all these sorts of things, and that I don't feel like I've ever been really good at, but I am passionate about, but I've never really been able to release myself where I'm encaptivated with that to help me therapy. I always feel like it's a band-aid because I don't go to another plane, or I can't get my feelings out in in
Yeah.
a session. It's just a band-aid, and once it's done, the band-aid's ripped off and it's back to where I was.
Yeah.
It's literally like a drug. Like everybody's like always said, when you have that first high with any type of drug, you're always chasing that first high.
Yeah.
You're always chasing it to get that back. And I feel like a lot of people out there is like, you really feel like you're lost. Some people can't find that thing that is therapy for them without going to therapy.
I get you. That makes sense to me. You know, I can concede that. Like that makes sense to me. But honestly, like as far as conspiracy theories go, this one feels to me like it. There's no way to get around this, folks. There's just no way. It has a lot of weight to it. There's
Damn
no way
it.
around it. There's
Yeah.
no way. It's very valid. I would have said to the point, but you can probably bring that back to like a pencil. You know what I mean? The lead
Right.
thing there.
Yeah, chewing on a pencil back in the days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember sitting there like
When did they
wondering
change
about
that?
this when I was a kid. Is there lead in this?
Yeah,
Hope
when
not.
did they when did they change the pencils? Because they changed it to graphite later down the road, but
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, and
want-
the other thing too to look at it with is the lead poisoning, even in small doses, can create aggressive behavior. Also,
isn't
Yeah.
that what they've said about, like, I've heard this like term before, like making a dog mad, they give it gunpowder or something.
That's old fashioned shit there.
yeah,
Feeding
yeah,
it gunpowder to make you more aggressive.
yeah,
So like that's when you guys kept saying the aggression with the lead and stuff, and I was like, I always heard that somebody saying like they give their dog
I mean,
gunpowder just to make it a little bit more mean.
dude, look at this shit they did back then. I mean, comparatively speaking, back then it was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll use a nuke.
yeah,
Dude, let's use two.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nowadays it'd have been like it's like, dude, nobody even wants to fucking talk about a nuclear bomb now. It's
Dude,
terrifying.
Yeah.
That's my entire point. Is
Yeah.
you figure that we were okay? World War II is 22 years after leaded gasoline. That's a good portion of a generation exposed to leaded gasoline.
Yeah. So they were fucking ready. They were like, ah.
And I'm talking on both sides. This isn't
Yeah.
just an America thing. Think of how insane shit was. And like the thought of that happening now seems so out of the realm of possibility.
I wonder if anybody is still using lead in their fuel.
So
I'm gonna look it up.
So you feel like that's the like reason? Okay, so in a way too, like World War II is like the reason why we haven't really like went to war is because we're kind of more mellowed out in a way.
Well, I mean, think of how
Because
much
of the-
further apart the wars are since we
Yeah.
got rid of lead.
Yeah,
You figure World War I happens in the teens, right? We have lead paint, we got lead in everything. You know, lead started showing itself in gasoline shortly there around that time. You know, then you jump to the 40s. Boom, we've got World War II. We get out of World War II. We're out of World War II for like officially what 5 years before we get into Korea. But unofficially, we were still occupying those spaces when we got to Korea, right? Then we get out of the Korean War and we jump right into the Vietnam War.
Says here Russia banned lead gas in 2003.
Right. We've got rid of it in 96.
It's crazy, man.
so it's not another thing too. It's like, okay, with the like children, they say like lead was in full swing, like it was in everything. So if you have all this lead poisoning in yourself already and you have a child, will that lead poisoning go to that child too?
Good question.
Algeria, Iraq, Yemen, Myanmar, North Korea, and Afghanistan, all still currently using lead.
Imagine that.
That's weird.
Really weird.
Is it cheaper to do it that way, or is it just they just
Well,
don't?
I don't know, but I mean, it says from what I just read, lead is a great octane booster. Like it's actually fantastic for boosting the efficiency of the fuel. But
Yeah,
I mean,
Bad.
it's apparently makes you want to fucking, you know.
So read that list of countries off again.
Okay, Algeria, Iraq, Yemen.
Okay. The first two, Algeria,
Yeah.
violent country, correct?
Mhm.
Am I right in thinking that? I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
Let me look that up. We'll go through the list one by one here.
Okay. Iraq, I think, is safe to say. They seem to be, you know, somewhat on the lead side as far as their ethics.
So in a way, it kind of like lends a hand to all these like Karens and what are they, Kevins?
Kevins. Hi,
Like,
Kevin.
because they apparently, like, because you said that like the effects of lead poisoning, they're very aggressive, they're
Yeah.
non-agreeable. So that's like I feel like lead would take that fact of like having an understanding of the situation. Like even if the situation does piss you off
Yeah.
and you don't want it to happen, they just don't want to take the time to listen and let it go because I saw one that I thought was like it was really stupid. A woman, an old lady, she wanted to know, like, they were in a supermarket and a guy had a service dog and he like, what is that dog doing in here? And he's like, it's a service dog. She's like, where's his papers or something like that, stating that he's like, I don't have to give it to you. I don't have to. This, that. And he just kept saying that he didn't have to do it. And as he started to walk away, she kicks him in the ass for
Please
it.
tell me the service dog fucking mauled her.
No, the service dog didn't do shit. They left. Somebody called the cops. She's out putting her groceries in her trunk of her car. Cop arrests her for assault. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like it limits the like. I understand, even though that she wanted to know to make sure that it's a service dog, even though that it's not her business. Like she didn't work there. It wasn't her business.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you got to understand where your boundaries are so you don't get yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
Like, because that's stupid. I would hate to be the cop to have to arrest an old lady because she's just too stubborn to let something go.
You know, if you're referring to a Karen of the boomer generation,
Mm-hmm.
I have to, as much as they, you know, my age group, man, nobody battled them like we did. But I'm going to say this. There is two subgroups there. There's a subspecies, okay? Majority of your boomers are mind your own fucking business. I'll mind mine. But there's that little subgroup in there that minds everybody else's business, and even they annoyed the fuck out of the other group.
Right.
Well, I
You know
feel
what I
like,
mean?
yeah, like you were saying is like, but I feel like if this is in question,
Yeah.
maybe the lead made the majority, the ones that are normally don't have that much aggression,
Yeah.
kind of okay. They wasn't really like agreeable, but they were okay. The other one had more aggression and more opinionated kind of feelings, and it made it more heightened. That's kind of like what I would say it would be if this
All
is the
right.
case in the conspiracy of the lead.
I mean, it says here that one of the biggest factors is of lead poisoning. You were asking if it can be passed to children. Is colic. So if we could corroborate, you know, all the births, how much colic occurred in those times, you know what I mean? That would be I mean, to me, that would be a big thing right there because, I mean, growing up, you heard about it all the time. Oh, it's a baby's colicky. Yeah.
I have a list of the 13 most violent countries in the world.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So you read your list off, and I'll tell you if it made it onto this list one at a time.
All right. I got to go back to my list here. What the hell did I do with it? Son of a bitch. I'm trying to find the one I clicked on.
I hate when I do that.
Yeah.
It's probably why I got 18 tabs running across the top of my screen right now.
Okay, I'm back. I got it.
All right.
Algeria?
Not listed.
Not listed. Okay. Iraq?
Yes, number 5.
Yemen?
Number 2.
Myanmar?
I do not have it, but it doesn't. Some of this doesn't mean it's not on a list. It's just not the top 13. Okay.
Yeah. North Korea?
Yes.
Afghanistan?
Number 1.
Wow. That's a weird cooperation.
Yeah.
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 I don't really know nothing about Myanmar. I don't even think I'm saying it right. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can find a stats on colic from then to now. Let's see here.
That is so weird. The Myanmar. How do you spell that? I want to see how close that is to.
It's MYANMAR.
MYANMAR. All right, Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'm trying to zoom in so I can see. Okay, so it's next to Laos and Thailand.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't find anything to.
But it's also very close to Tibet. It actually touches Tibet and Nepal. And aren't those two very, very violent places?
Yeah.
It's so weird. And just the correlation between everything that happened with lead leaving and the sudden change in personality traits in people, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
1945, we're like, hey, let's drop these 2 atomic bombs and lay waste to an entire island. And now it's like, let's have specialized drone attacks.
Right. Yeah.
Like we could blow up this gun factory right next to the school and not damage the school.
Right. Yeah, I'm not finding anything here. I'm sure there's got to be a study for this, but I'm not able to find it. I was just trying to see if there's more cases now or back then. You know what I mean? or if it's something that's getting less as we get further away from the lead generation. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'll find some eventually. It's wild though. I mean, me personally, I'm like, honestly, the whole thing, I'm like, this to me, this has validity. Like it had, there's something there. You know, there has to be something there. That makes too much sense.
Yeah, I don't think this is a full blown conspiracy theory. I think that there is ground to stand on for this.
Yeah. You know, I mean, back like you said, just the difference in behavior from the older generations to now to the newer generations coming up. I mean, it's
Yeah.
You know, I remember like growing up, I would go in my room and I'd sit down and play the Nintendo. Not all day. Not all day. No way. That would have been asking for trouble. You know, when everything else is done, when you're done with your whatever you need to do, then you can sit and you can play. And then when bedtime happens, you go to bed. But now it's like there's a screen in front of every face. You know.
Yeah, I remember the times where like it was the only screen I had in front of my face outside was if I had my Game Boy.
Yeah.
And most of the time my
couldn't see it.
No, I couldn't see it, but no, my parents wouldn't let me take it on certain trips.
Right. Have you I don't know if you guys get the opportunity like I do. Like when I'm building places, like currently I'm building something in an outdoor mall, right? And for some reason or another, we don't have paper on the windows, so I can actually see out. And I see people walking through active parking lots and the roads where people are driving, and they're not looking up. They get out of their car, they lock their door, and they pull their phone out, and they stare at their phone all the way to the door of where they're going.
Yeah.
It's like we're automatons.
Yes.
You know?
We're sheeps with phones.
Dude, I have been going through this thing over the last few months where I'll grab my phone out of habit because I'm in idle mode. I've stopped doing whatever task I'm doing. And I notice this is only when I'm at work. You know, like I grab my phone and I look at it. And I caught myself looking at my phone with absolutely nothing that I wanted to do on it.
Yeah.
And I literally put my phone back and I'm like, why did I even look at it?
Right.
I don't need to look at it right now.
Yep.
You know,
I've always I think I've said this to you guys when I'm at work, don't give me you guys will message randomly saying something about the band or about our group for the podcast.
Yeah.
I want to respond, but I might have some downtime. I know I get downtime every so often. So
yeah, we all
I could message you guys, but I hate having my phone in my hand when I'm at work.
Right. Same.
Especially because I feel like my focus, my head hurts staring at my phone, walking around or sitting down, because I feel like I lose my motivation to continue my tasks if I have my phone in my hand. So I tend to just look at your guys' message, try to keep up, make sure I didn't miss something. But then I'm that's why I don't message back. That's the reason why I just can't. I see there's countless people at work. There was a guy that used to work in the warehouse. Dude, he would work for a good 10 minutes and then sit down and pull his phone out and would sit there on his phone.
That should drive me nuts.
The guy brought his fucking Switch to work.
What the fuck?
And he would play his Switch sometimes. And I'm like, dude, I everybody gets pissed at him. He's like, man, he doesn't do his job, blah, blah, blah. He's a lazy asshole. But then I'm like, here, it's like, I was like, have you told somebody or have you said something to him personally? Like, yeah. Have they done anything? No. It's like this. Well, that you did all you could. And plus, I can't be mad at the guy. He found a place where he could do whatever he wants and get away with it.
I
The
mean,
guy's not an idiot. The
Yeah.
guy is just doing what he knows that he can get away with. So I'm not going to be
Yeah.
pissed at that guy. He's just taking advantage of what he is given.
yeah.
All right. What about you out there listening to this? Are you hiding somewhere watching this?
Yeah.
You sinner.
Are you sitting in the bathroom at work with your earbuds in, listening to us?
If somebody's sitting on a shitter listening to us, man, I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
Right.
Good
Like
for
if
you.
we're that important, like you're not on
Yeah.
Facebook, you're not on Marketplace. That's where I am all the time.
I saw a meme that cracks me up. It's like my phone went dead, so I had to take one of those boring 1990s shits.
He's holding the shampoo bottle.
I was fucking dying. I'm like,
Uh,
dude, I used to have a pile of magazines in my bathroom, man, like guitar
Dude.
magazines, gun magazines.
There's nobody
So
on
funny.
earth that knows as much about the ingredients to shampoo and soaps as our generation. Because we didn't have cell phones at first. And that's exactly what the fuck we did. If we didn't have magazines to read, we were in there with the shampoo, the soap, the shaving cream, whatever.
That's another thing too. Is I have used my phone on the shitter, but the weird thing is like I'm gonna incriminate myself, and you guys. I think I've told you this. I tend to most places like if I'm at my house, I'll turn off the lights and just sit there in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit there.
Yeah, you've told us about this, but I chose to forget it.
Yeah, that's
But,
just like a doorway to so much evil.
Yeah.
It's just something about that. It's like I equivalent that to like taking a Ouija board in there with you and playing with it while you're taking a dump. Like it's darkness. That's where scary things are, and you're in a vulnerable state.
Hey, speaking of darkness and vulnerable states and weird shit, the last minute of the show here, I got to ask a question because you two were the last ones out of the studio Friday night. Did either one of you guys close the door?
Yeah, I think I closed the door
To the studio?
Yeah.
Okay.
I turned the lights off too.
Okay. Okay.
I was going to tell you that I think you left your computer on.
Power amp was on. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you.
It was weird because I remembered the door being open, and then I walked back past, and I was like, "Why is the door closed?"
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta ask, because the weird shit that's been going on here. Like, Saturday morning, we had another weird incident here. So,
next episode,
sure. It's not that big. It's just a little, but
little one of them, like just enough where you're like,
yeah. I'll tell you about it when we clock off of this, which we should be giving these people back their day, anyways.
Yeah. So you guys out there, I don't know what he's doing. He's muted.
Should have a little time clock.
Yeah, we do. It's over Denny's head.
Oh yeah. Well, I meant like we each have
like a punch
little,
in.
Yeah, a little punch in that we turn into Denny so he could give us our 2 cents that we made today.
If that.
Yeah. All right. On that note, take care of each other. Don't get exposed to lead.
Don't eat the paint
bad. Yeah. No lead paint,
Bad.
Wow. But you guys take care of each other and do what you have to get through, right? I'll see ya.
See you guys.
That was very violent.
Yeah, at least they didn't cut the microphone. I'll give them that.